I saw this film back in the year I think it was 2000, the year 2000. I went to see it in the cinema. I think I was somewhere up in the north of Ireland, in Omagh or something like that, where I went to see it. The film itself is a very, very, one of the main things about American Psycho, right, that is really, 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 really good and worth watching. There's so many elements of it. It's a precision movie for a start. But one of the elements that I was just saying is that it is, without a doubt, it highlights very, very much what's really going on with us as mostly as men. It is a masculine kind of film to a certain, more than it is to do with women, right? So it's kind of like what they've done in this society, right? What they have done, and it highlights it in American Psycho, the mask. That's what I was going to say. The mask idea, even when he's putting the mask on, the exfoliating mask, he's putting all his masks on. How he looks is his mask. His clothes is his mask. His mannerisms is his mask. The girlfriend that he has is his mask. He doesn't care about any of it because we're not there anymore, just a fake self. But what was great about American Psycho is that it brings in this element that Carl Jung called it the shadow. I done something similar in it in the Trap film, and it runs through a lot of the stuff that I talk. If you observe yourself, right? If you observe yourself in a manner that is not just observing the things that are like, oh, I done this, it's just nice. And I'm a great father, and I done this here, and I'm no. You have to observe yourself in the darker elements of yourself. If you don't do that, society doesn't want us to do that, right? It doesn't want us to look at what is really brewing underneath. What's really brewing underneath is that, if we don't come acquainted with the dark shadow self, right, which is a screaming demon, which is depicted very well when he's running with a chainsaw after the prostitute, and he drops the chainsaw and it lands on her, and he just gives out this screech and this scream. That's what we are, dude. That's what we are. That little moment right there is the way that we really are inside. And then we cover all of it with society's politeness and all the rest of it. Do you not see the hypocrisy in all of it, what they're doing? Just say the segue into this for a second. They can drop bombs from the sky, right? They can start wars everywhere. They can have revenge everywhere and kill loads of people everywhere so they can have McDonald's and a corporation somewhere, right? And then they sell to us. Oh, you said something offensive online. That's hate speech. You see the hypocrisy with these people. And then they do what they want, right? And then they sell the false version of Christianity, which is turn the other cheek, don't do anything. Just be nice. Just love everyone. Well, I'll tell you right now that if there was a creature called Jesus, right, he was in touch with his dark side. There's no way he would have been able to do what he done if he was not in touch with his dark shadow self, which is a raging volcano of, it could blow the whole world up if it had the chance. This is the problem that we have, and that's why just say women are attracted to men that have this quality, right? And it has to, in a healthy human being is like a barbarian. He doesn't hold back. He says what he's got to say. He's not there trying to please people. And how do they think I am? Does that man or woman like me? Who cares, man? Who cares if they like you or not? Because they're fake anyway. Oh, I care whether a fake human being likes me. They're going to change in 2 seconds. Wherever the wind blows that feather is where they're going to land, right? And then we care about these people that are moving all over the place all the time, don't know who they are. And they're going to have an opinion about us. And usually their opinion about us is because they're hiding the fact that they don't want to look at their dark shadow, right? So American Psycho really puts that forth to us. It really puts that part to us. Now, people will drop their nice mask every now and then. And if you're watching and observant of yourself, you can see it and be an observant in everybody else, right? And they drop it sometimes. Small story. I was in this queue not so long ago, and I was being awkward at the checkout for deliberate reasons to do with development, right? And I wanted to see everyone else's reaction around me. A bit further on down, in the next queue, further on down, there was this woman, and she looked at me like the demon that she was, unknown, thinking that she's a nice person. And I looked at her, and there was just a small smile on my face when I seen her, because I'd seen her, who she really is in that moment. She thought it was safe because I was being awkward, right? Now, American Psycho is a very important film because of that. Men flock to that film for loads of different reasons. And one of them is, whether they know it or not, is that it gives us some sort of release and to go like, yeah, it's okay to look at your dark side, dude. It's okay to look at your dark side. Don't, playing out your dark side, that's probably not a great idea, dude, but you have to look at it, though. You have to look at it. And you can play with your dark side. You can play with your dark side, and then the dark side kind of like shadows onto the light side, and then the light side shadows onto the dark side. But the two of them have to be, it's like yin and yang, the symbol for the Tao. You have to have the both together. And then a healthy person is like a barbarian, and then we can have more peace within ourselves. It doesn't mean you have to be erratic all the time. It just means that, like, you acknowledge that you have these cravings, that you're a sexual deviant, that you're kind of like, that you could kill someone sometimes if it was allowed and people couldn't see it and there was no consequences, right? It's there within us, right? Don't lie to me. All right? Don't lie and say that, like, oh, I don't want to hurt anyone. No, you don't want any consequences for it. But it's in the dark side of us that we want to inflict great suffering and pain that people have put onto us, right? And to be a whole-centered human being, you have to include the dark side. You have to. Like I said, a healthy human being is like a barbarian. Okay, they're not, but society tries to keep that away from us and go like, well, don't look at your dark side. Just be nice, be fake. Be nice. Your mask, like in American Psycho, the presentation that you show to everyone, all be the same, all be nice, while we're bombing people from the sky and probably more than likely raping children in planes in the sky. You just be nice to everyone, right? And I'm not saying that we should do what they're doing, these elites, right? Because a lot of them are doing that because there's no consequences for them, right? They run the police, the agents of the mafia. The police are the agents of the mafia, okay? Don't talk to the police, okay? Whether they know it or not doesn't make any difference. They're not on our side. They work for the agents of the mafia. All right? But you have to get in touch with your dark side. That's what was so great about American Psycho. Then, just to touch on this, Christian Bale, probably one of the best performances ever given on screen. That guy should have got an Oscar for that film. Do you know how hard it is to stay in character like that all the time, to that nuanced performance that he gave? I've never seen more of a fantastic performance in my whole life than Christian Bale in American Psycho. It was absolutely fantastic, and that's why it's so memorable today. It was loads of different things, man. It was funny. It was tender in so many ways. It was, it was just fantastic, man. I can't even go into how fantastic it was. All right. One other element in the film that I want to bring about is that one of the only really people that wasn't really fake in the film was the secretary girl, right? And if you watch that part of the film, right, if you watch that part when he invites her out, goes to go out to the restaurant and, where do you want to go? And we're going to go to Dorsia, and I don't really mind. She was feminine, she was genuine, and she was more of herself, original self, than anyone else really in the film, right? And I think, personally, that's why he didn't kill her. Because he only wants to kill himself, the remembrance of himself, of the acting performance within himself, right? He doesn't really want it. So he wants to try and kill it off on other people. So American Psycho is a really important film, and it shows the fake self for what it is, and it shows that we shouldn't be afraid to look at our dark side. The dark side is who we are as well. All right? And if you're walking around with this fake smile and this fake, like, hi, how are you? And no, you're not being a barbarian. A barbarian has all these things in them and has them in equilibrium and knows when to go from one to the other and for it to not to be a problem. We don't want the dark side to be a problem, but we have to dip into it and acknowledge that it's there. If we don't do that, man, we're in big trouble. That's why we explode every now and then. That's why when someone points out our hypocrisy, we go livid over it and start defending ourselves and attacking them back and all that kind of stuff. It's because we don't know the dark side at all. Right? So American Psycho really, really kind of like highlights the shadow self and the fact that we're living in a mask. And if we don't start looking at it, man, like, you know, we're heading to oblivion if we don't. Self-observation means that you observe everything, especially the dark side, right? That hidden part of us, right? So I yield.